dedicated and determined. Not all commanders are objective. Not every single commander necessarily wants women in the force. Not every single commander believes what a sexual assault is. Not every single commander can distinguish between a slap on the ass and a rape, because they merge all of these crimes together.
This is a U.S. Senator. It sounds like a college chick in a dorm. But unfortunately and sadly, this is the state of our Congress today. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand was the leader of a campaign to usurp the chiefs of the U.S. military, take away their command structure, and turn it over to a group of Khmer Rouge under Barack Obama. I told you that, you see, you're focused on the IRS and the harassment of the reporters, which is a good thing. I warned you what Axelrod and Obama were likely to do, which is to go after some bigger fish. And you thought you had Obama on the ropes. You have no idea. They will not be happy till I decimate every aspect of this country. Colonel Allen West, welcome to the Savage Nation. Been a long time. How are you, my friend?
Dr. Savage, I'm doing very well, and my wife, Angela, and the girls send their best to you and your wife.
Well, thank you. I remember when you were at our house in Florida years ago. But listen, I got very upset today as a non-military man when I watched these Khmer Rouge feminists try to take over the military. This looked like an attempted coup to me, Colonel West.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's a big concern that I have, because when you start to get, I understand civilian oversight of the military. We all understand that as officers and who serve in uniform. But when you start to have this interjection of, political, will against, the military good order and discipline, where you start to try to usurp the commander's authority and, I guess, replace it with some type of political, legal officers and things of that nature, then the next thing you know, it goes from just dealing with this, sexual assault thing to, making decisions on the battlefield. But
thank you, exactly, and that's exactly what they're doing.
There is an assault against the United States military. We've seen it with the lifting of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. The thing about the military is that we conform personal behavior to the military. When the military now is being told they have to conform to personal behavior, that takes you down a very bad path. When you understand a guy like Mikey Weinstein, who is meeting with officials in the Department of Defense.
Oh, don't mention his name. This man is single-handedly pulling the military into the gutter.
Yeah.
I don't know how this man is not. I don't know how the man is not stopped. He has done more damage to the military than, let us say, our worst enemy, in my estimation.
No,
he's a single man who is borderline psychotic, in my estimation. He's a diehard fanatic atheist, and he's on the warpath against the U.S. military, and no one has been able to stop this psycho.
Well, I believe that right now you don't have people that really understand, national security and defense. When you look at the decimation of the readiness of the military, the morale, there may be a problem, without a doubt, with sexual assault. But look, one of the things...
Wait, hold it. Colonel West, let's stop right there. Let's start with the realities. Am I mistaken in assuming the following? When you say sexual assault, according to the new liberal interpretation of such a phrase, does that not include, hey, honey, let's go for a beer? Could she turn a man and say that was a sexual assault because it was an unwanted advance?
Well, she could. I mean, that's
all right. So amongst the 23,000 23,000 so-called cases that the commander-in-chief Obama talked about 2 weeks ago at a commencement address, how many of them are fraudulent claims? We don't know, do we?
No, we don't. And furthermore, Dr. Savage, we don't know how many of them are female against male, sexual assaults or same-sex sexual assaults. So we don't have those numbers either.
But why are we focused on such trivial nonsense instead of a congressional hearing, a Senate hearing on the deaths of the 20 Navy SEALs who were sent to their deaths aboard that helicopter, an old helicopter, or on Major Nidal Hassan, why he's not been prosecuted and put to death yet, the Fort Hood massacre, or the penetration of radical Islam into the military. That's what I would like to see a hearing on instead of this rubbish.
Well, that's the difference between the Senate Armed Services Committee, which, of course, you have Harry Reid and Democrat leadership, as opposed to the House Armed Services Committee, where you would have more poignant questions. You have the hearings about Benghazi. I don't think you've had that over on the Senate Armed Services side of the House. So there is a big difference in who is the majority in those respective houses, being the House of Representatives or the Senate.
But this is why I'm making such an issue of it. When I saw military chiefs grilled on sexual assault, when I know most of the sexual assault cases are invented, I know it for a fact. You know it and I know it. You can change the definition of anything to turn it into something it isn't. And when you start saying that, asking a woman out on a date, and her saying, oh, I didn't want to go on a date with him, I felt threatened, I felt uncomfortable, they're now calling that sexual assault. Where does this end? It ends with the death of the military. It ends with the military in the hand of the Khmer Rouge under Obama.
Well, it's interesting because once upon a time, you know, you had some very strict regulations as far as interaction between males and females, you know, and once upon a time officers could not have anything to do with enlisted, you know, ranks.
You mean until Bill Clinton came along?
Like during the time of Bill Clinton and Claudia Kennedy, who was a major general at the time, I think a lieutenant general actually, they started to try to break down those, you know, those separations. And now they're starting to talk about, you know, too much of this assault, too much, you know, unnecessary relations. But then ask yourself, well, then why would you want to put women into combat arms units and the infantry units and fighting units?
Because that's a furtherance of the leftist takeover of the military. That's why they're trying to push women into forward placement combat units. What are women going to do in the Navy SEALs or the U.S. Marines in an advanced base in an outpost? If a guy leans over and says, can I have a smoke on your cigarette, while they're sitting there with a machine gun, what are they going to call that, a sexual assault?
Well, that's one of the big problems. You know, unfortunately, there are some that believe G.I. Jane is not just a movie. It's something that could actually be implemented. And there may be exceptions to the rule, but you should not make a change in the standards, which I think is what you've heard General Martin Dempsey talk about doing, just so that they can meet some social reengineering goal or egalitarian goal of the left, the liberal progressives.
Colonel West, I have a couple of questions for you that are military-related that have been troubling me. The number one on my list, which I devoted my novel A Time for War to, and I want to send you a copy at the end of the show. It opens with the downing of the helicopter in Afghanistan a few years ago, where 20 or so Navy SEALs went to their fiery deaths. We were told that they were shot down by an RPG. I don't believe a word of it, meaning I don't know why they were shot down. I don't know how they were shot down. Isn't it unusual to have put all those SEALs into a single helicopter on an assault mission?
Well, Dr. Savage, I can tell you that I had the classified briefing, and a former constituents of mine, the Bonds, they lost their son, Aaron, in the Extortion 17 shoot-down. The real question is who ordered for the quick reaction force to go out on a very slow Chinook type of helicopter into a hot zone. There was a firefight that had been going on for about 3 to 4 hours. They were not allowed to do any type of landing zone preparatory fires whatsoever. And the parents were told basically they did not want to, offend the Taliban. There were no escort attack helicopters with Extortion 19. So there are a lot of questions about that mission, and the answers have not been forthcoming.
And I wonder why Senator Gillibrand is not concerned with the death of all those SEALs aboard that antiquated helicopter. And that's why I wrote A Time for War. I tried to awaken America. Unfortunately, I failed. Frankly, I consider it one of my great failures that I have not been able to awaken the public interest in the military. And frankly, Colonel West, I can tell you right now, most Americans who listen to my show are not interested in the subject. They could give they could care less about the military. Of course, there's a dedicated few who listen, who understand the existential battle we are involved in with radical Islam at our door, inside all of our organizations, literally dictating to our military commanders who are too frightened to say a word to them. I don't know how much longer this country can hold. Do you have the same dire fear that I do, that this whole thing could implode in our lifetime under Obama?
Well, I do. My biggest concern is that 2016 is a very important election cycle. We cannot continue on with the more liberal, progressive, socialist leadership in this country. And if we are to reverse this trend, it has to be with a true, conservative that understands national security, foreign policy, and that the most important responsibility of the federal government is to provide for the common defense so we can secure the blessings of liberty.
Well, we know it's not going to be Chris Christie in that role. We understand that. Speaking of which, no, I know it's a sore point, but Colonel West, you know that I'm a great admirer of your military background. I know that you're third-generation military, if I'm not mistaken. You've dedicated your life to this country, and yet the Republican Party gerrymandered your district to drive you out of the party. That's how I read it. Are you planning on running again? I hope you are.
Doubt that in the state of Florida, where we had a supermajority of Republicans in the House and the Senate, and a Republican governor, why was I redistricted out of the district that I won back for the Republican Party? Someone's got to answer that question.
So you were gerrymandered out?
Oh, yeah, there is no doubt about that. I mean, everyone knows that I was drawn out of the district that I won for the Republicans.
Well, why would the Republicans throw you out? Because you were too radical, meaning you were too much of a conservative nationalist, or what? Well, what was it they were afraid of? I mean, you were very popular even in liberal districts. I know it for a fact. You went into very liberal Jewish districts in Boca Raton that had voted Democrat, and they loved you.
Well, I had never served in the state house or state senate, and I never, taken the time to go up to Tallahassee and I guess kiss the proverbial ring. So I didn't pay my homage, and I guess there were some within the party establishment and power structure there in Tallahassee that did not like who I was and what I represented. And there are questions that have to be answered. I'm not concerned about it, but a lot of constituents are.
You said you would not answer the question of whether you're going to run again. I don't know if I heard that.
No, I will run again. There's no doubt about it. But not in the 2014 cycle. I will look to run again in the 2016 cycle. There are a lot of things that I feel that I can do by, trying to make sure that Obama does not get back the House and Senate in this midterm election, and that's one of my primary goals. And
what are you doing right now? You're a political commentator on Fox and a few other places, but are you with an organization, Colonel West?
Yes, I'm working with PJ Media, and we have an internet news TV program called NextGeneration.tv. You can go to www.nextgeneration.tv. Fox News has granted me the opportunity to be a contributor for them, and so I get a chance to, once again, articulate and assess this current situation. Just finished a book that will now go into the editing process. I will never be able to catch up to you, but for those...
let me tell you, Colonel West, I can't catch up to me.
We're staying very busy and speaking all over the country, and it is important to me that we hand off a better America to my daughters than what my parents handed to me.
Colonel West, last question of the day. Are you as optimistic as I am that the American people have had enough of this radical leftist regime and that they're going to throw the bums out in the midterm elections? I see a landslide coming. What do you see?
Well, I believe so. I believe right now the American people do not want President Obama to have full reign and power here in Washington, D.C. for his last 2 years like he had in his first 2 years, because the IRS scandals, the AP James Rosen scandals, Benghazi, Extortion 17, this is not a transparent administration. But the important thing is that you have to show a contrast. If you think that you can win by being a lesser version of the other side, then you're not going to be successful.
Amen. Absolutely right. By the way, when are you coming to San Francisco?
Shoot, I think Nancy Pelosi would have me shot on sight if I can.
Why don't you come into Indian country and walk around the streets with me?
Hey, but
I suggest if you come to San Francisco, come with a flower in your hair.
Be on the lookout for me.
Colonel West, thank you very much.